Hello and welcome to our first lecture on economics. Today we'll be dealing with the basic concepts in economics, like the few of the microeconomics concepts. This lecture is in English and Hindi version of this lecture will be released in 2 to 3 days. यह लेक्चर इंग्लिश में है और हिंदी लेक्चर इसी सीरीज़ का आपको 2-3 दिन में हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल पे अवेलेबल हो जाएगा. तो लेट्स बिगिन अप विद द इंग्लिश session on economics 101 with the concepts. So agenda for today's eco 101 is we'll be looking at economics, the terminologies used in economics, definition particularly, then we'll move on to macroeconomics and then microeconomics. Then further we'll look at how the concept of demand is implemented, or what is the concept of demand function, elasticity, and once after looking at this concept we will see how this concept can be used in framing the UPSC Mains answer, how you can write your answers taking this concept as a framework in those few questions. So probably this section is the most important section, and in every lecture we will be discussing one past UPSC prelims questions. Have that question not being in news and that question is into your paper, how just basic concept can help you solve that question. So we'll be dealing with this with these two things when we study the concept. Now just focus on this slide. We have written importance of writing that answer for mains. Now you have 4 GS paper, you have 10 markers and 15 markers, so total you have got 20 questions in one paper. That makes to 80 questions. Now imagine everyone writes good answer. What difference does good answer and a better answer makes? It is those keywords that change the whole game. Now imagine if you have to check the answer copy in like 5-10 minutes and you have given questions, so you know that what answer you are looking for in that answer copy. Now if you have those technical 2-3 keywords in your answer, trust us, you will get half to 1 mark extra per question. Now imagine in every 80 question of yours you have such keywords in your answer and you score 1 mark extra. You'll be ending up scoring 80 marks extra, and that will be a completely game changer in your merit list. So this is the formula, simple and effective. Now this is just a food of thought for yourself. What is the difference between effectiveness and efficiency? Just give it a thought on this, and we make a statement. You should be very efficient in your UPSC preparations, but you should be effective in writing the answers. I repeat, you should be very efficient in your UPSC preparations, but you should be very effective in writing the answers. Just give a food for thought on this statement what we have made, and you will come to know answer on this. So we as a clear concepts will help you play with the keywords. Like we will explain you keywords with some technicalities and how you can use these keywords in your answer to make it good and make it look good and make it effective in justification of your ideology. So let's begin. There are many definitions about economics as a theory, but when we speak about economics, we speak about the production, we speak about the distribution, and we speak about the consumption. That's it. When we speak about the macroeconomics, we are speaking about the national input and national output. So the terminologies such as gross domestic product or gross value addition, GVA, it will all fall into macroeconomics part of a thing. Now when we speak about microeconomics, you speak about the individual economic unit. So when we speak about one particular firm or one particular industry, at that point in time we are dealing with the microeconomic thing. You should know this, like when we speak about the demand, it has to do with the consumers. Demand is a consumer concept. and when we speak about the supply, it is a firm concept. This should be very clear, because this is the base, like where the whole economics will get changed. Demand is related to consumers and supply concept is related to firm. Just focus on this statement, demand function. Don't take this statement mathematical as of now. We will give you like why this statement is the most important statement as of now, and how you can edit this statement in writing your answers. Law of demand, as you know, when the price will go up, the quantity you will buy will come down, as and when the price comes down, the quantity you will buy will increase. But this has certain conditions, it does not apply to all product. We will see why. Now just focus on this function. Now this is very important function. Just kindly note, for the Hindi aspirant, will be coming up with the Hindi lecture in 2-3 days for the exact same video and the exact same slides. Yeah, so please focus on this function. Q is equal to f of p I p o. So this is a demand function mentioned in terms of quantities. That quantity is a function of price of that particular product, income of the buyer, and price of other substitute product. This is very important concept. Any quantity you will buy today, it will be depending upon price of that particular product, the income level of that area or the income level of that society, and the price of other substitute product. So if by any chance, if you are given a question into prelims like the quantity of any product depends upon dash 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 dash, you should be able to know this, that it depends upon 3 things. We will see how this function can be used into other example as well in future. Then there is an inverse demand function. Now demand function is measured in quantity. When you write this function in terms of price, that becomes inverse demand function. So that will be something like this: P is equal to, say for example, any number 1 minus 1q maybe. Now here is the unit, and this minus 1 is a slope. Now we do not have to get mathematical into this as of now. Just remember this: when you write in terms of price, it becomes inverse demand function, and when you write in terms of q, it becomes demand function. So this is a graph. This is an inverse demand function graph, where the price is on the y-axis and the quantity is on the x-axis. This is theoretical graph. Say for example, this is joining. Here it is 6, here it is 6. Now say for example, price is equal to 6 minus 1 q. Okay, this is just sample number we are taking. Now when we say at price is equal to 6, for example, we have taken the same number, quantity you can buy is 0 quantity, because this price is so high. This is just a technical example, this is just a sample example. We are assuming that you just have the annual average salary in your area or in your family, for example, is 5 rupees, and the price of that product is 6 rupees. Then for example, you are not you won't buy that product, so the quantity you will buy is 0. So this curve is the maximum curve. The assumption that goes into this curve is the maximum. Like for example, you are standing say here, so at this point at rupee 1, the maximum quantity you can buy is 5. When you are reading it from the other term, you will be paying maximum of 1 rupee to buy 5 quantities. These are the two interpretation you can make from this point. This is a simple demand curve. The sample curve is like this, hence the slope is into minus. This is a demand curve. Supply curve somewhere is like this, but supply is not agenda of today's lecture, so we'll be dealing with supply in something in future. So this is the demand curve, this is the price, and this is the quantity. So you understood now. Slope is always negative for a demand curve, because whenever the price goes up, your quantity comes down. So this is the theoretical curve. In real life, the curve should be somewhere like this. It's not a straight line exactly. It's somewhere depending on the income level and the prices of the product and other. So this is another type of a demand curve. So this was just the basic about the demand curve. So this is sample demand curve, just to understand. Say for example, we are standing into between. This middle point is your unit elastic point. So here a 1 rupee change in price will give you 1 unit change in quantity. It's a simple interpretation. Now when you go up of the unit elastic, your product become more elastic. So here price sensitivity is high, and here price sensitivity is low, and that's why it is called inelastic. Now say which products are elastic products. Now here when your price is changing from this to this, your quantity is changing to more. Like say for example, your price is dropping from 20 rupee to 10 rupee, maybe your quantity is rising by 30 to 40. So here the price sensitivity will be more. As you come down, your price sensitivity will become less, because you see here the slope gets reduced. So here the price sensitivity will be very less compared to the quantity you bought and buy. I'll give you an example for this. See now, consider two product. Now you have one shopper stop, you have brand factory, and you have Tata Salt. Okay. Now when you come across advertisements like there is a merchandise discount on the shopper stop or the local area store or any pantaloon store, etc., there is a huge rush into that the superstore or the supermarket. That's because the people are willing to buy more of that quantity in the less price, because those products are elastic product that gets demand. Now the alternative case is with, say for example, the salt. Now assume that salt is rupees 10 rupee a kg and your income is 10 rupee. Now when you go to the shop with the 10 rupee, you can buy 1 kg of salt. Now tomorrow if the Tata group comes and says like we are reducing the salt price by 8 rupee, now what happens? Now you can buy that salt in 2 rupee and you have extra 8 rupee to spend. So it does not mean that if the price is falling, you'll buy 5 kg, like 2 rupee a kg it's now, so let's buy 5 kg. It's a salt. In regular use you do not use 5 kg of salt, so you're not buying salt 5 kg even if the price drops. So understood the difference between elasticity and inelasticity, because this differentiation is very important, like which product will be sensitive, which product will not be sensitive. So once you understand about this sensitivity, you can write your answers in a more proper way. So we have studied about elastic, we have studied inelastic, we have studied unit elastic. Now let's think about this two graph. This is our normal demand curve. Here is elastic, here this is inelastic, here it is unit elastic. Now when you have a very sensitive price to product rules, here a very minute change in price will give you a huge difference in quantity. So that is perfectly elastic demand. So your chart is mostly horizontal for this, and when you have something like in vertical, that is perfectly inelastic. No matter you change your price from 10 to 1, your quantity remains constant, or it hardly changes. So that becomes your perfectly inelastic, and this becomes your perfectly elastic. I hope you are clear with these 5 concepts. So these concepts you should be very well clear about, because whenever you have questions about anything on the price, anything on the demand, anything on the inflation, anything about the impact of inflation, anything about impact of how the price will impact is how you're getting that, like when we can use such the concepts. Let's see if you are able to solve this question or not. So this is the question. Indian Railway should have dynamic pricing to optimize revenues while managing demand. Examine. Now we have studied about I'll just give you a hint like how you can go about writing this answer. We have studied about the relation which I told you, that it depends upon the quantity depends upon price, income and price of other product, right? Here what do you think the number of passengers or the flexible ticket depends upon? Today it depends only upon the 10% of maybe I have dropped you a hint. Okay, anyways, so it depends upon the function depends upon, I'll just give a fair idea. It depends upon the route, it depends upon the fare, and it depends upon the number of passengers. Understood? Now when you will write your mains answer in such terms, don't you think you will score one extra mark? That like will give you our framework of answer. Wanted to write the mains answer question like what we have studied. Indian Railway should have dynamic pricing to optimize revenue while managing demand. Say for example this question is for 10 marks. These are the hints. See about what dynamic pricing is in the Indian Railways, see how demand model works in the Indian Railways, and you can use this concept in framing an answer for inflation as well and MSPs as well. So we encourage you to write this answer and send us over. We will prefer like the beginning with intro. Intro can be news or intro can be fact. When we say news, it's current affair related. Second should always be a technical point. Technical point about concept or question. Third, we believe you can write about the body because the base has been built here. Fourth, you write about the ending notes. And 5, you can conclude. You should conclude in an optimistic way. See, when you write this 5 point, that one extra mark you will fetch from here, and we as a clear concepts will help you fetch this 1 mark in every concept we teach. Now your work is to go back to this. We will go through your answer and the top answer will be featuring in our next video, and we will be explaining and we'll be giving our feedback on that answer, and we will see how improvement can be made in that answer. I hope you see. So whenever we write the mains answer, or when we have understood the concept and you are liking this the time you have been spending with us, let's speak about the past UPSC question. In UPSC 2018 prelims, you have a question on merchant discount rate. It was in news, definitely for the cashless economics point of thing. But what happens if it was not in a news? You would have able to answer it. Most people would have able to answer it. But let's say if you do not know anything about that, if it was not in news, then how would you have solved it? So in economic term, discount is a cost or a charge. Now if you go to any shop and he says original price is 100 rupee, he give you 10% discount, now your price is 90 rupees. So what does that means? So it means that 10% discount he is writing in his own books, that 10% discount he is bearing just to sell that product. So this 10% is a cost on himself. Understood? So now if you go to 2018 paper, if you check the option for this question, you will have one option where it will be written charge. So that option is probably the most correct option. So this was just one thing. I believe most of you already know these things. So now you know about the discount. We'll learn the concept of discount in more detail. Now when you know concept of discount in more detail, you would have able to solve the treasury bill question in 2018 also. So we'll learn in future like how just the basic concepts are useful in solving the economic question. And yes, in every concept we teach, we frame your mains UPSC question, we take your answers, we give you live feedback, and we feature the best answer on our next YouTube session, and we give feedback on that question as well. I hope you enjoyed the session with us. Please give us suggestions in the comment box so that we can improve anything where you want us guys to continue or to discontinue these things or whatever you want to. And secondly, yes, this session was in English. For Hindi, aspirants will be releasing the same slide and the same session in Hindi in probably 2 to 3 days later. I hope you will understand and be with us. Thanks for watching this. Thank you so much.